life isn't a straight line. It's a messy, unpredictable path filled with unexpected detours and moments that test the very limits of our resolve. Every ambitious goal, every meaningful dream, is separated from you by a chasm of difficulty. It's in that chasm, in the moment of failure, rejection, or exhaustion, that the difference between those who succeed and those who surrender becomes clear. That difference lies in two profound, learned skills: resilience and perseverance. This isn't an accident of birth. These are muscles you can build. Over the next few minutes, we will explore the definitive mental frameworks and actionable strategies required to transform obstacles from permanent roadblocks into temporary stepping stones. First, let's confront a fundamental truth. Setbacks are not optional. They are mandatory. The desire for a smooth, problem-free journey is not only unrealistic, it's an expectation that fundamentally sabotages resilience. When you expect perfection, the first sign of struggle feels like a catastrophic failure, triggering an immediate retreat. Resilience is often defined as the ability to bounce back, but a more powerful definition is the ability to bounce forward, to emerge from adversity wiser, stronger, and more determined than you were before. Perseverance is the action fueled by resilience. It's the steady, sustained effort required to move through the difficulty, not around it. The great myth of success is that the most talented win. The reality is that the most persistent win. The most persistent are simply the ones who have mastered the ability to regulate their emotions and reframe their thoughts when everything goes wrong. The journey to building resilience begins with a radical change in how we perceive failure. We must adopt the adversity advantage mindset. For the untrained mind, failure is an identity statement. I failed, therefore I am a failure. This is the hallmark of a fixed mindset, and it paralyzes perseverance. But a resilient mind sees failure as nothing more than data. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a vital, non-negotiable component of the learning process. Think of an obstacle not as a punitive barrier, but as a mandatory training exercise. It forces you to pause, analyze your strategy, and inevitably evolve. Your greatest growth moments in life rarely happen during comfort. They happen during crisis. This leads us to the concept of post-traumatic growth. While difficult experiences are painful, studies show that people often report significant positive psychological change afterward: a deeper appreciation for life, stronger relationships, and a clearer sense of purpose. Resilience is the mechanism that converts trauma into growth. So, how do we maintain perseverance in the face of setbacks? We need cognitive tools. The first is reframing. This involves changing the narrative surrounding an event. If you lose a client, a pessimistic mind frames it as "I am an incompetent salesperson." A resilient mind reframes it as "This process taught me exactly what I need to address in my pitch for the next opportunity." Reframing shifts the focus from irreparable damage to actionable leverage. The second is understanding your locus of control. When faced with an overwhelming situation, separate what you can control from what you cannot. You cannot control the market or a competitor's actions, but you can control your effort, your attitude, and your recovery time. By intentionally directing your energy only towards the things within your control, you stop wasting precious mental resources on worrying. Finally, embrace the profound power of the word "yet." When you are struggling with a difficult task, avoid the sentence, "I can't do this." Instead, say, "I can't do this yet." This single word activates the growth mindset and directs your energy toward a future solution. Now for some actionable strategies. Perseverance is often lost when we react emotionally instead of strategically. The first strategy is the ABC model of adversity. When facing a setback, A is for adversity. Objectively state the obstacle. For example, "My funding application was rejected." B is for belief. Identify the instantaneous, limiting belief that arose, like "I must not be good enough for this industry." C is for consequence. Observe the resulting emotional consequence. For instance, "I feel hopeless and want to quit." By labeling B, you interrupt the emotional spiral and can choose a new, rational belief which generates a constructive response. The second strategy is the power of the if-then plan. Most people fail to persevere because they don't plan for failure. Resilience requires anticipating the blow. If you're starting a new workout habit, you might create the plan. "If I miss my workout on Monday, then I will immediately do a short 15-minute session on Tuesday morning." Predeciding your response dramatically reduces the mental effort required to restart. Perseverance is not about enduring pain indefinitely. It's about intelligent recovery. You must master emotional regulation to sustain the marathon of long-term goals. When a major setback hits, you must allow for a controlled recovery phase. It is not weak to feel pain, frustration, or disappointment. Suppressing these emotions only prolongs the psychological toll. Allocate a specific, contained amount of time, say, one evening, to fully process the disappointment, grieve the loss, and then, firmly, close that emotional window and transition back to strategic action. Central to effective recovery is self-compassion. This is often confused with self-pity, but they are opposites. Self-pity wallows in the problem. Self-compassion acknowledges the suffering with kindness and then initiates action. When you talk to yourself after a failure, use the same encouraging voice you would use for a dear friend. Research shows that self-compassion is a stronger predictor of motivation and resilience than self-esteem. Finally, let's bring it all together. Resilience and perseverance are not reserved for an elite few. They are the cumulative result of small, consistent mental choices. You are not born with grit. You build it through habit. The resilient life is built upon a daily commitment to 3 core practices. First, the mindset audit, daily reframing of negative self-talk and focusing on your locus of control. Second, the recovery protocol, consciously managing emotional responses to small daily setbacks before they escalate. And third, the action pledge, committing to the next small step, regardless of how you feel, fueled by the unwavering belief that effort is the engine of ability. The journey toward any worthwhile goal will test your patience and expose your vulnerabilities. But every obstacle is an invitation to build a psychological fortitude that will serve you for the rest of your life. Embrace the setbacks. Utilize the data. Master the recovery. The future belongs not to the fastest or the smartest, but to the one who simply refuses to quit. Build your resilience today, and you will unlock the extraordinary power of perseverance. Thank you so much for watching. If this helped you, consider subscribing for more content on building a stronger mindset. See you in the next one.